Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage, and welcome back from all of our UCC stuff. So it is the week after UCC. Obviously I got the videos up for UCC. I know that was a little different. What I did was I actually stood here in front of the truck talking about our experience at UCC, and it was going to be like a 45-minute video. So I just decided to cut it into the 3 days, and that way you guys could see what happened each day, kind of hear the story. And once again, don't have a lot of media from that because I wasn't concerned about that. I was there to do well in the event. We did well, but that fire's still burning. I want to do even better. I want to be up on that podium. I want to win. So that's still driving me. So we need to get the truck dialed in. So UCC is obviously not our focus now. We're going to focus on ODSS and trying to get the truck even faster down the track. Collect data, learn more about the truck, see how fast we can get the truck this year and be competitive. So while we were at UCC, since we did a qualifying pass and bought a tech card for ODSS, we did get 20 more points for ODSS points race. So we are still in that. We were there. I was planning on making 2 passes, so might as well get those points while we're at it to help us along with our quest for that. So part of doing that is we need to test. We need to go back to the track and see, sort the truck or shake the truck out after UCC. So I know the big question on everybody's mind: what happened on the sled pull track? Why did this thing do an endo? And what's going on with it? So I have actually spent this week kind of diagnosing the truck. I have all of the fluids out of the truck except for the engine oil. So our rear diff cover is off. No issues in there with our dirty hooker, axles, or spool. Everything seems good. Our transmission and transfer case, I actually drained the transfer case. Everything looks good fluid-wise there. Transmission fluid looked fantastic. I think I actually have a little video of that, but it looked great. So pulled the pan, checked the filter. The filter looked phenomenal. I put a new filter on it just because I was there. Adjusted both bands. We're good to go transmission wise. I did check out the second gear band and not as burn up as I was anticipating, especially from the sled pull, but everything looks pretty good there. And then our front diff, where I thought the problem would be. And yeah, no issues. I found no metal in the front diff either, so I don't think anything broke. So if we come back here, I have it in 4-wheel drive. It's in 4 high. Currently, if I spin the wheel, obviously this wheel and the other wheel both spin because of our spool. And then if we look at our front wheel, that spins as well. So I also did this in 4 low. Don't see any issues. So if we replay, and I've replayed it a whole bunch, the video from the sled pull, if you watch the truck, it's going full head of steam. We got smoke rolling out of this thing. We're moving. We're starting to get toward the end. The sled's really pulling down on the truck, and all of a sudden, pop. If you watch, the smoke stops, like the engine just, my first thought was the engine seized, but just the engine cut off, and then it rolls a little bit, like maybe 6 inches or a foot, and then we do our little endo. So what I think happened watching that video, I think we lost power. So either a ground or power wire for our ECM came loose, or we have a little electrical gremlin, something like that. But I think the cause of all that problem was that we lost power to the ECM somehow. So not really sure. It's not like the truck was jumping or doing a bunch of crap like that, but I think it lost power. So once again, watching the video, the engine seems to cut off, and then it rolls a little bit, then it comes up. So what I think, since we were moving and kind of moving at a pretty good clip, I think that when the power shut off, obviously the transmission still had pressure and all that. Our converter was locked up. We had a manual lockup switch. When that happened, the whole drivetrain is locked together. Engine stopped. So transmission stopped, you know, converters locked to the back of the engine, transfer case stopped, both axles stopped. That's what I'm thinking happened. For it to stop like that, if it was something mechanical, we would have found pieces, which I think is a testament to the drivetrain. I think the drivetrain is pretty well sorted out on this truck that it took that. Because after the sled pull, our first startup, it didn't want to start right away, but it was a little hot, and it was all loaded up with fuel. It went from, you know, 5,000 RPM to like nothing, like that. So that's what I think happened. Like I said, I would like to get the truck to Cecil before we go down to Virginia Motorsports Park for our next ODSS race, and just take the truck out to make sure everything's good there. But I am confident that mechanically everything is fine. I've pulled all the fluids and all that, and everything looks good. So in order to get this thing to Cecil, this weekend's not looking good. Memorial Day weekend, it's supposed to rain all weekend, so we're going to convert this thing back to drag racing mode. So that means getting our wheels and tires off, obviously, getting our sled stops in the back off. So we got to get our coilovers back on, get our sled stops off, flip our switch. So our switch was actually right. So if you look, the lights are on in the cab. If we pull this out, now they're off. So it's the opposite of how we have it for drag racing. So if, you know, we came unhooked from the sled, it would just kill the truck. So we got to flip that around, get our dirty hooker diesel U-joint guard off, get our hitch off, and then there's some stuff that you guys didn't know about. So with the Mad Crunch for UCC, there's a couple things you guys don't know about. If you look at here, we have these much beefier 4-link bars. Those are 2-inch, 250 wall chromoly 4-link bars. Our guy Derek at DNR Customs sent those out to us, so that way we had beefy ones and didn't have to make our own. So were they needed? I honestly don't know 100%, but better safe than sorry. They worked, so if we ever sled pull again, we'll get them back from Derek if he's not sled pulling, but if he is, we'll have to make our own, and that's awful fuzzy. But anyhow, we got to swap our normal 4-link bars back in, but since we had those thick ones back there, I built a set for the front. So we have some thick 4-link bars for the front of the truck, and our front track bar we also increased the size of for the sled pull. So replaced all that stuff. Bob and Dad helped out with that greatly, but we got to put all of our drag racing stuff back on because we don't need that thick stuff for that. Also got to get like our transmission scatter shield, got to get that fastened back up and all that kind of stuff. Basically get this thing back in drag mode, like I said. And one other thing that you guys didn't know about that we did for the sled pull, I got really worried about getting dirt in our turbo. Turbo is already eating a rock or something, so I wanted to make sure we're not eating, you know, a crap ton of dirt. So what we did, I took this old intake elbow from our Source Automotive 2nd Gen swap that we had on this truck originally. I tacked it to a V-band, and we V-banded it to our GT55, and also picked up this nice screen setup, this little turbo guard setup from S&B Filters. Those guys had a booth there. I went around trying to find a 6-inch filter actually, and I couldn't find one, but the guys at S&B had this. So that's why this thing's kind of rotated towards the engine, to keep it away from the dirt coming off the wheel and tire, and we have a screen to keep any big stuff out. So what I plan to do for the track is actually take a piece of 6-inch tube and weld that to our V-band, and we will run this all the time just to keep our turbo from eating anything large. So those things all need changed. This can stay for now. If anything, I'll orient it so it's not sucking completely hot air up. But yeah, so we're basically getting this thing back ready to go to the track. I've talked enough at the beginning of the video. We're going to convert this thing back to how we're used to saying it. Even though this thing looked gnarly on sled pull day, really loved how this thing looked. And if this thing wouldn't have cut out, we might have gotten that 300 foot, which would have been just, you know, icing on the cake. So anyway, let's get this thing converted over so that way we are ready the next time there's a track day at Cecil. quite a few days later, and we are back ready for the track. So decided to take a little bit of a break from the truck and all that and just kind of relax, Memorial Day and all that kind of stuff, and just decided to kind of take it easy with the truck stuff for a little bit. The UCC crunch, we had a lot of late nights and all that kind of stuff. Wow, all of a sudden got the hiccups. Great. So anyhow, decided to take a couple days, I don't want to say off. I was out here fiddling with the truck and all that. I would like to say I was fiddling with the garage, but it is still a complete wreck. Anyhow, got the truck ready for the track. Another thing I did take a couple days off for was, well, a day, I decided to actually paint our front 4-link bars and our track bar. So that's all nice and painted now. That was all just raw for the longest time because I got it done, put it on, then the truck was ready to go, and it just didn't seem like a big thing. You know, I wasn't worried about that aesthetic part of the truck. So, man, these are all painted, all good to go. Everything is back to kind of its normal operation, other than we still do have our sled pull stops in the front here. But that is only because we're still on jack stands. And the reason for that is I just didn't want to leave it on drag setup. These aren't radials with the sidewall, you know, the stiff sidewall. These are actually slicks. So I didn't want to leave them on there. Apparently it gets flat spots and this and that. Also, I do want to run the truck and, you know, put it in 4 high, put it in 4 low. Make sure we don't have anything happening there. So I want to leave it on the jack stands for that, just to make sure we're good, and, you know, run it through the gears and all that kind of stuff and make sure everything's okay. But our hitch is off. Obviously, like I said, our M&Hs are back on. Got our power switch and all that corrected. So we are back to the pull on and push off. It's funny, the whole time we had it in sled pull mode, I wanted to, you know, push it off and pull it on. Then I had it on there for so long that now I want to do the opposite. So all that is done. We have to get our nitrous bottle back installed, all that. But everything in the rear here is back to normal. Coilovers on, so on and so forth. So we are back ready to go to the track. It's not looking good for this weekend. We still do need fluids, transmission fluid. We need fluids in both rears, transfer case, all that kind of stuff. But just haven't gotten there yet because the weather has been, well, you guys probably can't see, but been crap. It's just raining and all that. Looks like it's going to rain all weekend. So if there's any chances going to track that, and I think they got an event going on at Cecil anyway, or hopefully they do. So yeah, we're not going to be able to test. So trying to going to try and get to some more events. I definitely want to run this truck. I put a post on Instagram, which if you're not following me on Instagram, definitely do. Turbo Tom on Instagram. But I put a post saying that this truck is not going to be one of those trucks you see once, twice a year, something like that. I want to run the crap out of this thing. We spent enough hours in the garage wrenching on it, which there's still plenty more wrenching to do on it. It's when you have something, build something to this level, that's the nature of the beast. There's always something to do, you know. We should probably run valve lash after UCC, that kind of thing, you know, just get ready for the next race. But there's always something to do on it, but I don't want to go and completely try and re-engineer something at this point. We have a running truck, a good running truck, and I want to use it. So if there's any events you guys know of where this thing fits into a class for dyno, sled pull, or drag racing, let me know down in the comments. Hit me up on Instagram, whatever. Let me know about it so I can kind of look at it and see what's going on. I know sled pulling, this thing really doesn't fit into any kind of class with our GT55, and especially with trying to use nitrous. I don't know of any other sled pools in UCC where you can use nitrous, but if you know of one where they'd even let me exhibition and it's not that far, I'd definitely give it a shot just to get a little more seat time. So UCC, I definitely feel that we had a truck that could have been a podium truck. We could have been in the top 3, I feel, if I had more seat time. You know, maybe I'm giving myself a little too much credit or giving the truck a little too much credit. I don't know. But we definitely could have done better in some of the activities, if you will, some of the events, especially the dyno. And for my first dyno experience, I can't complain. 2,000 horsepower, first time ever dynoing a truck myself. Pretty cool. But we can get better. So seat time is a major thing with that, just like drag racing. The more we're in the truck, the better we'll feel, the more natural everything will be, the faster we'll get, so on and so forth. So just trying to find those events where we can do those things, we can hang out, just have a good time, and you know, just do all that kind of stuff. Use the truck for what it was built for. Like I said, we built the thing, it's running good, and I want to use the crap out of it. So anyway, guys, I know it's a little bit of a back to basics video, you know, going back to drag racing mode from sled pulling, and I'm trying to get back in the groove from UCC. Like I said, that UCC crunch everybody talks about, and I've been a fan of the whole ultimate call out challenge thing since they started it. And you know, other than the first year everybody, you know, had good reason to be not completely prepared, but I always thought, like, why are these guys not prepared? I don't understand. Guys seem like they're testing at UCC or 1 week before. Now I get it, because you just have all this stuff. You want to do the best you can, so you cram as much crap in as possible, like us. So we did our TBM brakes, and what else do we do? Our front coilovers. We did all kinds of stuff, you know, switching to the slicks, all kinds of stuff like that to try and get ready for UCC. That was, I wanted to do eventually, but that time frame got moved up vastly. Like our dirty hooker spool and axles, those were planned to do throughout the year or maybe in the winter. All got moved up to the beginning of this year so we could do our best showing and hopefully not break the truck. It all paid off. We did well, and we didn't break anything at UCC, that's a testament in its own. So anyway, I know I'm rambling on here at the end. We are back ready to drag race. We just need to be able to get to a track and do it. And yeah, I'm excited to see what this year brings with the truck. We're in, you know, June. We're still in the beginning of drag racing season and event season. So I'm excited to see what this thing has to offer. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe down below. Catch you guys in the next one. Get out in your garage, get the wrench on your truck.